Well, guys, it has finally happened. After months of rumors and leaks and a ton of information, Google has finally officially revealed their new portfolio of Pixel devices. And probably one of the most interesting surprises is with the Pixel Watch 4. I say that because there aren't a ton of these huge, sweeping, game-changing improvements, but instead, I think Google has made a ton of smart, subtle upgrades that when you put them all together makes the Pixel Watch 4 actually one of their most improved devices this year, to my surprise. Visually, it's still super familiar, don't get me wrong, but internally there are a ton of important, much needed improvements that you 100% need to know about. So real quick, let me tell you everything new with the Pixel Watch 4, and of course, subscribe to the 9 to 5 Google YouTube channel so you can be up to date on all our future Pixel 10 coverage, because trust me, we have a lot of it coming your way. We'll start with the most visible aspect first, which is no doubt the display, which has received quite a few upgrades. In the past, the first 3 generations of Pixel Watch had a cover glass that was completely flat in the center and domed around the edges. Originally, this did help give it that water droplet type look that we've been hearing about for years now, but this time around, Google has taken things a step further by raising the center of the glass, giving it a fully domed shape. This is a subtle change that I think fully realizes that water droplet pebble-like look and still helps to give the Pixel Watch 4 a more distinct aesthetic compared to other Wear OS watches on the market. And because of this change, the display underneath is also domed to make the Pixel feel much closer to the surface. Google calls this their Actua 360 display, and it's one of their most talked about aspects of this year's watch. Thankfully, this comes with some practical benefits as well, like a 10% larger screen with a 16% smaller bezel, so there's a bit more room to play around with. And of course, we're getting the typical display spec bump, as it's now 50% brighter than the last generation, hitting a peak of 3000 nits, which is no doubt a huge win for visibility, especially in direct sunlight. All of this comes together to make for not only a better looking display, but one that actually does feel a bit different, with potentially more natural feeling interactions with that curved glass, and in general, it should be more comfortable as a whole in day-to-day use. In addition to the display, there are quite a few other upgrades in general that you should at the very least be caught up to speed on. For one, we have a new custom Gen 3 haptics engine that can deliver 15% stronger vibrations. Haptics have always been a strong suit for Pixel devices, so I'm really happy to see this change here. And even more important these days, there is a new updated speaker array that has been specifically tuned to make Gemini responses sound more clear. This is actually a big issue that I have with Gemini Wear OS for watches that I have right now. I find the speakers are far too quiet to easily hear the responses if there's a little bit of background noise, so I am really grateful for this change. And I assume this will also provide a much better phone call experience as well as general media playback. Lastly, as expected, the Pixel Watch 4 is still made out of aluminum, and we still do have that IP68 rating, which makes this watch waterproof for up to 50 meters. But to me, the biggest, most important change to this entire device is the brand new charging system. This year, things have shifted around quite a bit as we have 2 new raised contacts on the ends of the speaker cutout, and that is where you will connect the watch to the newly featured docking system. So yes, yet again, last year's chargers will not carry over to this year's device. Now, trust me, I know the first thought that goes through my head is that this is the 3rd different charging mechanism for the first 4 generations of Pixel Watch. Just being truthful here, it's certainly not a good look that we're getting new chargers so often, and it's probably jarring for loyal customers that keep coming back year after year, but I have a really strong feeling we're sticking around with this one for the foreseeable future, and there are a lot of good reasons for that. First, of course, we get a spec bump on paper where you can now go from 0 to 50% in about 15 minutes. This should get you at least a full day's worth of battery, which is great, especially if you have a small charging window in the morning to charge your devices for whatever reason that may be. But the real big charging change I'm excited for is this new quick dock mechanism, which is included in the box, thankfully. The dock itself is super minimal with just the G logo stamped on the bottom, but there's a little bit of weight here so it doesn't as easily flop around on a desk unlike last year's charger. Probably the best part, and the aspect that I appreciate the most, is when the watch is placed on a dock, it enters a dedicated clock or standby mode that displays the date, time, and how long it will take to charge. This dual functionality is 100% my favorite improvement of this change, turning a relatively useless means to an end into an actual fully fledged feature. To me, it's a simple, clean, elegant solution for having always-on glanceable information. I think there is a lot of potential here to make this a lot more like a smart display of sorts, so I hope Google keeps iterating on this in the future, maybe adding Nest Hub functionality of some kind, or just adding new features in general to make it more useful as time goes on. Alongside all these changes, there's still a lot more we need to talk about, like the updated internals, for example. Under the hood, the Pixel Watch 4 did get an upgraded processor in the Snapdragon W5 Gen 2 chip with 2 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of onboard storage. The co-processor has been upgraded as well to the Cortex M55 chip, which runs machine learning algorithms 25% faster while also using half the power. So with this new chip, combined with the efficiency improvements of Wear OS 6, which we will talk about in a minute, and the fact that the always-on display mode takes up 50% less power as well, and slightly bigger batteries, gives us in total about 25% longer battery life, which means the 41mm watch is rated for 30 hours with the always-on display and 2 days with battery saver, while the 45mm is rated for 40 hours with always-on display and 3 days with battery saver. I'd also like to add, this is the first Wear OS watch available at this time to feature the next generation Snapdragon W5 Gen 2 chip. At this time, it's technically the fastest Wear OS watch available. Basically, if you want the most future-proofed Wear OS device out there as soon as possible, the Pixel Watch 4 should be more than enough to handle future AI advancements for years to come. Lastly, one more feature this chip enables is emergency satellite SOS connectivity. This is a massive win for the Pixel Watch 4 as it's the first standalone commercial smartwatch with this technology. Obviously, we need to see how this performs once it's actually released in the wild, but in theory, it should be a huge game changer for those that like to travel to remote areas, as it allows you to contact emergency responders and share your location when a cellular connection is available. In regards to health and fitness, there are a ton of improvements here as well. You'll get more accurate sleep tracking that is better at detecting when you're in REM, light, or deep sleep. There's also a next-gen skin temperature sensor and dual frequency GPS for more accurate route tracking, especially if you're surrounded by a lot of buildings or trees. There's also an AI-powered activity recognition feature that works in the background, so you don't have to manually start a workout if you don't want to, where you'll also get a summary with metrics after the activity recognition has logged in action. And of course, it will get more personalized over time based on your routine. And finally, Google is introducing their long-awaited Gemini-powered fitness coach with a newly redesigned Fitbit app that creates personalized fitness and sleep plans that can also answer your health questions in a conversational format. Unfortunately, we will have to wait until October when it goes into public preview, first on the Pixel Watch 4, but it will be available for older models and Fitbit wearables in general. I'll wait for that public preview before I say anything else, but I am really excited for this feature, and I hope it works well as I imagine that it should, especially considering how long it's been rumored to be in development for. Last but not least, Wear OS 6 got a lot of focus here with a massive redesign that affects a huge portion of the general interface. We get new colors, a new UI, new animations, new app layouts, a new call screen UI. Basically, every aspect of Wear OS has been touched up in one way or another, making for a good extension of that fun, bubbly, bouncy UI that we see on Pixel phones. And a simple comparison of the old Wear OS screens to the new ones shows really how much more info that you get at a glance now. Part of this update also includes a few new AI features like the ability to launch Gemini hands-free by simply raising a wrist and starting to talk without needing to initiate a hot word or button press. In my hands-on time, I felt the implementation could use a little bit of work. Sometimes I would raise my wrist and it wouldn't detect the motion, or it would take a bit longer than I'd like to activate, but this is an aspect that I 100% expect Google to keep tuning until it's seamless, so I'm not really worried about that in the long run. You can still use the hey, you know who hot word, which is nice, but I just find raising your wrist and talking is a more seamless and natural way to interact with Gemini. And another important AI addition is on-device smart replies in Google Messages and other notifications that require that type of response, where it uses the context of the conversation to craft a response. Super helpful hopeful, especially with that on-device aspect, as it should still work on the watch even without a paired phone nearby. And that, my friends, is literally everything you need to know about the Pixel Watch 4. Overall, the Pixel Watch 4, in my opinion, has the most improvements out of any Pixel device in the lineup this year. The new fully domed display, the much more functional charging dock that doubles as a clock, the new Snapdragon W5 Gen 2 chip, and of course the long-awaited Gemini-powered health coach are all major changes that will give this device a lot to look forward to. Of course, if you don't have a Pixel Watch 2 or 3, I don't think this is a mandatory upgrade by any means, but if you decide to upgrade or switch from another brand, I'd say the Pixel Watch 4 has a lot of potential to stick around with you for many years to come, especially with the whole repairability aspect, which I didn't even get a chance to fully cover yet, but I'll leave a link in the description for more information on that. Regardless, at this point, I think it's perfect to hear from you guys now. Please leave a comment and let me know, what do you think of the Pixel Watch 4? Does this look like a device that you're actually going to upgrade? And if so, tell us why, or if you're not interested, please equally tell us why not, as I'm super curious to hear what the Android community is thinking. Until next time, this has been Jordan Floyd with 9 to 5 Google. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.